Welcome. Today's post is, What Goes Up? Mini post. Published on July 9, 2023. Did you know that 4 world-famous plane crashes, and 1 famous crash news story happened within 2 months? Or that there were exactly 10 days between each crash, like clockwork? The final of the 5 famous crash stories even inspired the recent movie, Cocaine Bear. Here are the topics we'll be decoding today. You can always find this list in the description below. If you enjoy this video, please press the like button, and subscribe for weekly full-length blog posts, and shorter, more shareable videos. Let's begin. I begin most digs by looking up biggest X or most famous X and replace X with any subject imaginable. I do this because the bigger an event is, the more likely it has a trail of comms that can be followed like a breadcrumb trail. Like the deadliest single plane crash happened August 12, 1985. Second deadliest year in aviation history. August 2, 1985. Famous American plane crash, 137 dead. Plus 10 days. August 12, 1985. Famous Japanese plane crash, 520 dead, deadliest single air crash ever. Plus 10 days. August 22, 1985. Famous United Kingdom plane crash, 137 passengers, 55 dead. Plus 10 days. September 1, 1985. Titanic wreck located and photographed, most famous crash in history. Plus 10 days. September 11, 1985. Famous air crash of drug runner with 77 pounds of cocaine, the Cocaine Bear story. Is this coincidence? If not, what could it possibly mean? There aren't that many plane crashes a year, but we do know that 7 out of 10 plane crashes are planned out targeted kills. For now, it's only evident that these were intentionally timed to send some kind of message. It's difficult to get the mind around these disasters, so instead let's go in the other direction. Instead of an actual literal physical crash, let's begin with a crash of economics. Such things have easier to understand motives. The Great Dotcom Crash of 2000. November 9, 2000. The $1.7 trillion dot-com lesson. It's hard to think of a publicly traded internet company not down at least 75%. Note Pets.com called out on the wiki first. The poster child of the dot-com bubble was Pets.com. An internet company with sock puppet dog ads. The voice of this puppet dog starred in a film at the same, Big Helium Dog, about a lucrative TV deal that ends up failing. Failing like Pets.com. A reader began this decode by making this connection, ever more proof people are getting it. I dug into their lead and found their first commercial began with the sock puppet dog singing this. What goes up, must come down. These are clearly comms about the bubble to bust. In between the lyrics of up and down, try to get it, as in people getting wealthy and getting out before the fall. Which means this was the marker intended to represent the fall. Which makes sense given we already went over Big Helium Dog. Starring the same voice actor. About big money falling through. Big Helium Dog. Did you know that Sock Puppet Dog got a free Macy's Thanksgiving Day balloon? Notice the hosts talk about the first commercial and that famous song. What goes up must come down. Song continues, you got no money, you got no home. Symbolism of Macy's balloons depends on type. I think all share a symbol of inflated as a brand taking flight, and most intend to be permanent. Balloons like Spider-Man, notice he was built with special Spidey cams. What kind of balloon did the dog sock puppet get? The answer is quite telling. It got a unique type called a falloon. Fall plus balloon. Not a flying type. Notice the ad agency responsible for the ads famous originally for the Apple's 1984 Mac surveillance ads. Notice the president is named Schwartz, same last name as the sock puppet dog's voice. It's also the same name as someone else I'm sure you know. George Soros, born Schwartz. Symbol of the Schwartz, made clear in Star Wars parody as the special force that creates juggernauts of media like Star Wars. The symbol being the pump, which helps clarify another com. The symbol of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Notice Soros's partner was Arnhold. Reminds me of Arnold's accent, but the important point is symbol of the pump like a balloon, inflating. Why does Schwartz equals pump though? It invokes Soros, but why would Soros be tied to it? Schwartz equals black, German translated. Black equals profit, Black Friday after Macy's Thanksgiving top sales day of year. Schwartz equals black equals profit. Schwarzenegger equals profit x2. A rude comms joke. February 21, 2009. SockPuppetPets.com voice initiates world's first Twitter war with LeVar Burton. February 20, 2009. Socks the cat, Clinton's cat dies of throat cancer. Clinton had just got into SEC of State position, before that she had lost to Obama. Perhaps this represented Clinton's social media forces flocking to Obama in trade for her new position. That's just a hypothesis, I get the feeling there's something more going on here. When I get stuck I move to a new subject. Sound of Freedom. New movie, Sound of Freedom, came out July 4 after years of mysterious delays. True story of an organization fighting child trafficking. It received major press when its star, Jesus from Passion of the Christ, asserted the organization rescued kids from adrenochroming. In articles about this film they connect QAnon with adrenochrome as a core of beliefs. Neither Q nor Trump has ever talked about adrenochrome. It really is disinfo. My post on disinfo explains the methodology. That doesn't mean the movie is disinfo. Ask what Q is about and the answers you'll get from mainstream media is not Q, but QAnon, and then a bunch of things Q never said. Getting a few Q followers into this insanity detoured truth and outright acted as repellent to any reasonable human that might think of looking into Q. The film is making money and was received positively, not fully. The media finally calmed. Not fully, and articles talk about substance rather than disinfo. That may be why they pushed disinfo and delayed, so it could announce when we could hear freedom ring, so to speak. That is just me being optimistic, but it is a marked change in disposition. Another reader pointed out a potential com. Ballard/Ballard. Compare new film to a major news story going on now. Sound of Freedom, story of Ballard ex-military rescue victims of trafficking. Notice what is shared with rescue attempt of the Titan sub. Both are ex-military, rescue story, and both named Ballard. Could be coincidence, but we can't know until we dig. Likely if it is a com, Ballard will unlock the point of both. I looked up his original discovery of the Titanic to see if anything popped out. Remember this? August 2, 1985, famous American plane crash 137 dead. Plus 10 days. August 12, 1985, famous Japanese plane crash 520 dead deadliest single air crash ever. Plus 10 days. August 22, 1985, famous United Kingdom plane crash 137 passengers 55 dead. Plus 10 days. September 1, 1985, Ballard, Titanic wreck located and photographed, most famous crash in history. We've come full circle. And now that we understand a mysterious rescue symbol tied to this, let's see if that helps unlock anything. Plus 10 days from Ballard Titanic discovery. September 11, 1985, famous death by jumping out of plane with cocaine. Turned into a recent movie called Cocaine Bear. Week after week plane crash after plane crash. Each one exactly 10 days after the last. Not just regular plane crashes, the most deadly ever and multiple famous high fatality ones with movies of them. 10 days prior to these plus 10 plane tragedies Ronald Reagan lowered a warning about terrorists attacking airports. 10 days prior to this Reagan had surgery to remove a deadly polyp. It's a bit confusing I'm sure, so let's tackle it bit by bit. Why is Ballard and Titanic in the middle of these famous plane crashes? The most prominent, Ballard, is a 1986 company focused on aircraft technology testing. The industry leader. Ballard, therefore, is a symbol of what? Airplane safety. As in something to prevent crashes. I suspect Ballard is a symbol of a tactical crash. Invoked due to novels about post-apocalypse and crash fetishes. 1985 crashes and 1986 Ballard, invoked for airline safety. Symbol of crash prevention. Titanic rediscovered by Ballard, Titan origin. Plus 10 days. Titan 404 skydiving incident with drug runner abandons plane. Notice the plane was a 404 Titan. Titan equals same name as the submarine that just sank looking for the Titanic. 404. Last month I decoded them as connected to 404. A symbol of failure online. Why Titan? Titan was the setup to the sinking of Titanic. The plan, sent in comms years before it. I began long-form decoding through Decoding Titanic, so check my posts on that for a lot more. 1898, Nabisco 1898, Wreck of Titan, Titanic ship sinking story, ship identical to Titanic, 1908, Titanic ordered 1908, Oreo predecessor Hydrox 1912 March, Oreo launched 1912 April, Titanic sinks. Symbols coordinating the Fed. Also 1912. Lifesavers. Very Titanic relevant. Suggestion of supporting the Mint, bank, to save your own life. It gives you a taste of the atmosphere of fear demanding capitulation. So with that in mind, it seems the conclusion was a message of an end to hijacking planes. I suspect this was tied to a new cooperation with former enemies to help end the practice. I've long decoded this around this time frame. There's one more famous plane crash that month that will clarify what was really going on. Samantha. Before her crash though, famously sent a letter about nuclear war which became a worldwide media topic. June 18, 2023. The girl who tried to bring peace between the US and the Soviet Union. She died in a plane crash the same month as the other crashes I covered. August 2, 1985. Famous American plane crash 137 dead. Plus 10 days. August 12, 1985. Famous Japanese plane crash 520 dead, deadliest single air crash ever. Plus 10 days. August 22, 1985. Famous United Kingdom plane crash 137 passengers, 55 dead. August 25, 1985. Famous plane crash of Samantha Smith, 13-year-old celebrity famous for her letter about nuclear risk with the USSR. September 1, 1985. Titanic Ballard. America's youngest ambassador. She famously wrote a letter asking for an end to nuclear fears for the head of the USSR. The fact her letter got attention in the major media of USSR and USA was itself big news. She became a TV star as well, clearly comms, but which ones? The answer is once again hidden in plane crashes. March 27, 1977. 2 planes crash deadliest in aviation history. March 10, 1977. Samantha 13-year-old drugged and raped Roman Polanski arrest. August 25, 1985. Samantha 13-year-old celebrity for nuclear disarmament plane crash death. August 22, 1985. Plane crash. August 12, 1985. Deadliest single plane crash. The 1985 plane crashes equals message about the 1977 ones. Samantha being a child symbol defining strings tied to world leaders. This is why she was uniquely able to force the head of USSR into talks. This is why they picked a birth date tied to death sentence changes. June 29, 1972, Samantha Reed Smith born. June 29, 1972. Landmark Supreme Court case invalidates all legal constructions for the death penalty. August 1985, Samantha Smith plane crash. Investigators hindered by absence of info. No black box, no voice recorder, no data recording. So she was a symbol of using evidence, it seems. Her death, perhaps being an agreement of sorts. Chernobyl/Studio 54 agreement. It happened right after the three famous plane crashes and then right before Titanic. Famous crash. So many odd things with these three crashes. The numbers, for example. 137 casualties for the first crash, then 137 passengers with 55, clear signal. Why 137? Turns out 137 is the deadly end result of nuclear fission. It's what became of Chernobyl. The most deadly of these crashes, and the most deadly single airplane crash in history, came in between these two 137 crashes. Japan. Mirrored 137 is equal to 731, the Japanese Human Experimentation Unit. Killing 500,000 and covering it up. I tested it, after trying more than 100 numbers nearby those two, not a single other one had any kind of obvious comms connotation. It means these coincidences were likely comms. Three crashes, UK, USA, Japan, may have been a coordinated announcement. All of this is tied to the Titanic expedition in the Thalvin sub. I had decoded the Macy's Day Falloon balloons as fall plus balloons. The first one they made was Alvin and the Chipmunks in 1986. Symbol of recording plus children. Taking recorded celebrity hits and adding children to them. Around the World in 80 Days parody, which itself is tied to blackmail comms as decoded here. November 1872, First International Football Match. November 1872, Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. Coordinating around the world. Coordinating what? What indeed? First aired the month after Chernobyl alongside Roman Polanski. Famous child predator of Samantha. VHS release same day, Sony buys CBS Records. Betamax and VHS. October 1, 1961, DIA first military spy agency formed. October 4, 1961, Alvin and the Chipmunks first show debut, CBS. CBS being Studio 54, and sponsored by Jell-O, most famously spokesman of Bill Cosby arrested for drugging and raping sedated girls. Cosby breakout role playing spy in I Spy. Decoding Chipmunks further. Notice the voice cast. His wife plays Theodore, Teddy. Her most famous movie role before this was a 1976 movie pornography film called Slumber Party, where 6 girls without supervision talk about their first sexual experience. Teddy is a symbol used at times to symbolize a sedated child. I go into it extensively in several posts. E.g., South Park used the likeness of Teddy Roosevelt to be the face of an international gang of pedophiles with strings tied to Hollywood. September 17, 1983, Alvin and the Chipmunks, second incarnation. September 17, 1983, Supercade Donkey Kong, second ever video game cartoon. September 17, 1983, Vanessa Williams first Black Miss America. Months later, Penthouse published nude photos of her stripping her of title goes to second place, also black. 1ST2ND. 1977 Nintendo's first video game console. 1977 Atari 2600 first video game console phenomenon. 1977 Samantha 13-year-old Roman Polanski rape case. 1977 Deadliest plane crash. 1977 Studio 54 former CBS studio launches celebrity sex dungeon. April 26, 1977, Studio 54 club starts, Russia plus Mossad. May 17, 1977, Likud, Netanyahu, wins the first victory over left wing in over 30 years. May 17, 1977, Atari co-founder founds Chuck E. Cheese. July 15, 1983, Nintendo Japan launch. September 17, 1983, Supercade video game show Donkey Kong/Q*bert. September 17, 1983, first Black Miss America, stripped of title, goes to second place who was also black. September 17, 1983. Alvin's second iteration, father had died and son took over. Nintendo replaced Atari market as they died in 1983, commonly represented in pop culture due to E.T. August 1985. Samantha 13-year-old plane crash. October 1985. Nintendo USA launch. This may be a confusing connection if you don't remember what Atari symbolizes. Atari equals Arita. Sleeping berries plus children in Blue Lagoon. Means Japanese porcelain as in, fragile, as a child is. Brooke Shields' most famous child actor tied to Studio 54, semi-nude in the Blue Lagoon remake. Also a nude child model for Playboy at 10 years old. According to Zuckerberg in the social network, all world leaders are members of the Porcelain Club. Giving examples of Teddy Roosevelt, so the symbolism is already clear if you have been paying attention. Timeline starting with 1977 is a transition of tech plus blackmail ops. First black Miss America plus nude photos equals stripped of title. Second place, also black, winner Miss America. Black is a symbol for both money pumping and secrecy. Atari Nintendo. Black equals Schwartz equals birth name of George Soros. Symbol of both hidden and pumping products full of money. Black Friday. March 2, 1974. Grand jury concludes POTUS Richard Nixon is involved in Watergate cover-up. March 3, 1974. Deadliest air crash in aviation history to this point. March 4, 1974. ABBA Waterloo album equals surrender symbolism. Air crashes equals pressure that flips Nixon allies against him. I noticed it surpassed an air crash named Kano as the deadliest ever. Which I suspect explains the Mortal Kombat character. Moveset focuses on flying at his opponent like a cannonball and has a motif of electronic cybernetics, i.e. tech sabotage. More modern equivalent of this. October 6, 2020. Crypto evangelist McAfee arrested in Spain. October 6, 2020. EVE Online Guinness Book of Records, largest multiplayer PvP battle in space of all time. Crypto payments are used for. A reader pointed out the many news reports recently of passengers trying to escape planes mid-flight. One of them returning from the Hideout Festival. Another screaming about imaginary people. Another from Korea, which is interesting given recent Korea decodes. Did you know the Pentagon likely just finished building a secret court? One the public can't access. Carrot Top flew with the Madeira escape attempt. Carrots equals good eyesight and night vision. Add carrot plus top and we are talking about seeing powerful people. Incident caused by a lost earbud, possibly a symbol of someone panicking after a missed comms channel. Past decodes. August 4, 2021. Maxwell brags being rich after molesting staff. Taped to subdue. July 12, 2021. First-class woman tacked opening plane mid-flight. Duct taped and zip-tied. August 11, 2021. Boy 13 tried to kick open window mid-flight. Taped. Maxwell trial revealed molested staff. Perhaps Maxwell was the public face of the secret proceedings. Telegram chat. Join the Decoding Blog Telegram group. Begin decoding. Send leads. This has been What Goes Up. Mini post.